Hey guys, welcome back to Film Title. Today we'll talk about the most nauseating moments on Dr. Pimple Popper. Let's head into it. Number 4. A huge cluster of blackheads. In her latest Instagram video, Dr. Pimple Popper got back to work, along with the rest of us, kicking her Monday off with a series of blackhead extractions on a patient's back. In the clip, Dr. Pimple Popper uses her trusty comedone extractor to remove the blackheads more smoothly and safely than pinching them, which can cause irritation. Adjacent to the blackheads, she notes, are brown spots known as benign seborrheic keratosis, a type of non-cancerous skin growth that can typically develop in older adults. Blackheads are extremely common, affecting up to nearly 50 million people every year. They tend to form when a combination of oil and dead skin cells clog your pores, and take on their distinctive color when sebum exposed to the air undergoes the process of oxidation. Thankfully, if you're dealing with blackheads yourself, there are simpler ways to get rid of them. For mild cases, it's recommended starting with an over-the-counter cleanser containing salicylic acid. Clay masks, pore strips, and retinol creams can help too. Number 3. A gigantic lipoma. In an exclusive clip from the hit TLC series, we see Lee treating a patient named Kevin with a massive lump on his hip. Lee suspects it's a lipoma, one of those benign fatty growths that make plenty of appearances on Dr. Pimple Popper's Instagram. I think it's a lipoma, which is benign, but I think that there's a perfect example of somebody who has a benign growth that really affects his life. Lee explains in the upcoming episode he stopped working out. It affects his work, and it clearly affects him emotionally. Lee makes an incision across the lump, and pretty soon she announces the diagnosis, and it's a lipoma. Next, it's time to yank the thing out of there. Lee tells Kevin, "Now I'm just gonna woman handle it, okay?" And woman handle it she does. Lee proceeds to pull a huge fatty mass from under Kevin's skin, all the while making sure her patient is comfortable. To help Kevin describe the sensations he's experiencing, she says, "You know what that feels like? You'll never feel it. It's like a C-section, when someone's delivering a baby and it feels like you're tugging, but you can't feel anything painful. I know, I've been there, done that." Number 2. Valentine's Day blackheads. Imagine the ever-chipper Dr. Pimple Popper running her comedone extractor across the face of Nick Nolte's Lieutenant Colonel Tall from the Thin Red Line. That's pretty much the dermatological superstar's latest YouTube upload. Sandra Lee crushes brown crud out of a series of blackheads on the face of a grizzled old veteran who came in for a body exam, not extractions, and who doesn't have much appreciation for small talk. Have you ever had a facial before? Lee asks. She traces her logo-adorned comedone extractor around his gray beard and brush eyebrows. "No," he stammers, as if it's the dumbest question he's ever been asked. "We're going to open up your world," Lee exclaims. The most awkward moment of the 13-minute video comes when Lee asks the man about his travel plans. He says he plans on visiting Vietnam. First time? Lee asks. No, he was there en route to a post in Thailand in 1973. "Do you like Thai food?" She responds. "It's okay. Do you like Mexican better?" "No." "So you don't like spicy?" "No, I don't do spicy." There doesn't seem to be much common ground between the two. Instances of acne diminishes as a person ages. However, there are a few varieties that are semi-prevalent among older patients, and some underlying genetic conditions, like steatocystoma, that can cause flare-ups throughout one's life. The blackheads seem to be as persistent to this old guy as copies of the AARP newsletter in the mail, or that Dawkins kid next door losing his baseball over the fence. The man apparently endured Dr. Pimple Popper's probing at his third wife's insistence. The things we do for love. Number 1. A handful of juicy blackheads. In addition to providing a wealth of info on dermatological conditions and some good gasps, Dr. P's video streams make up the weirdest talk show on the internet, as the camera focuses on the gumball-sized cyst have by an incision or a stream of goo snaking out of a crushed whitehead. A voice from somewhere describes the pleasures of lobster bisque or recounts of deployment during Nam. In a new Instagram clip, Sandra Lee interviews a patient about his early life spent forming, which he thinks is the cause of a removed tumor from which a scar is visible. "I really think it's the pesticides and herbicides," he says, as Lee presses on his face with a comedone extractor and yellow gunk snakes out like silly string. "We had row crops and citrus and avocados." Studies have long traced the chemicals and pesticides to an array of cancer sites and those who worked on the fields, specifically before awareness grew, are especially at risk. Environmental pollutants can also lead to a kind of acne called chloracne, which may explain why this middle-aged sounding gent has a case worthy of a world-class dermatologist's attention. This has not stopped his involvement in farming, we learn. I went into the corporate world, and then later in life, I bought a produce company out in Salinas and a ranch in the Salinas Valley, he explains jovially as Lee's squishes his skin and reddens his face. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.